Hello, everybody. Today we're joined by Dr. Anna Cody, Australia's Sex Discrimination Commissioner, a distinguished human rights advocate, legal academic, and leader really with deep commitment to justice and inclusion. From your work to remote Aboriginal communities to global human rights advocacy and university leadership, Dr. Cody brings decades of experience amplifying the voices of those too often left out of national conversations. Now, in her current role, she's leading national efforts to eliminate sexual harassment and advance gender equality in workplaces across Australia. Most recently, the Australian Human Rights Commission released Speaking from Experience: What Needs to Change to Address Workplace Sexual Harassment. An incredibly powerful report, so powerful in my view because it centres the voices of those most affected, including young people, migrants, refugees, LGBTQI plus communities, and people in insecure or low paid work. For those of us in the settlement sector, and we know it's a sector grounded in compassion, cultural intelligence, the continuous pursuit of practice excellence, this report, in my view, is absolutely essential. We know that accessing and applying national reforms can often be a challenge when we're focused on meeting the daily needs of newly arrived communities. But creating safe, respectful workplaces is absolutely central to our mission, not only for the people we support, but for the diverse and dedicated workforce that drives our work in the settlement sector. In today's episode, as I said, we're absolutely honoured to have Dr. Anna Cody here. We're going to explore two key questions: key insights from the report, and what's the change that we're really hoping will come out as a result. Thank you so much, Anna, for being here with us. What are
Maria,
the key insights from that report?
thanks very much, Maria. It's a pleasure to be with you and for your workforce. I have huge respect for all of the work that you do and the importance of it. So, key insights. We heard from over 300 people around Australia, particularly focusing on the experience of workplace sexual harassment for groups that we don't always hear a lot from. So very much from refugees, from migrants, from culturally, racially marginalised people, LGBTQI plus people and young people. And what we heard is that the experience of workplace sexual harassment is widespread. While for the rest of the whole population, it's 1 in 3 people experience it, for people who are refugees or migrants or from culturally, racially marginalised background, it's 1 in 2, and in some sectors even higher than that. So we know that in all types of businesses, whether that be small, medium, community run, family run, or larger businesses and organisations, workplace sexual harassment is a problem. And the other key insight that we heard is that for those groups that are refugees and migrants, there are key issues that they particularly face. The first one is that they don't know what workplace sexual harassment is, and they don't understand the Australian work regulation system. They don't understand what awards are, for example, that there's a pay rate that everyone has to get paid. They don't understand leave entitlements, but also they don't understand that workplace sexual harassment is different from sexual assault. So workplace sexual harassment can include comments, propositioning for sex, staring at someone in a sexual way, and for that group, particularly combining racism and sexual harassment. So things like, oh, it's just the Australian sense of humour. That we heard over and over again, that often when someone would come forward and talk about workplace sexual harassment, it would be dismissed, it wouldn't be taken seriously, and that they would use that racist understanding or an exclusive idea of you don't understand because you're not Australian. So that was very common. Also stereotypes about particular groups of women. So, for example, about Asian women or about Latina women. So definitely using that combination of race and sexism and sexual harassment within the workplace. So we know that people who are from migrant and refugee backgrounds are particularly targeted by harassers and that they face systemic barriers to getting help. So often it's that barrier of they really need that job. Often it's taken them a long time, having faced racism in getting the job, to get the job. So they're more vulnerable to then not wanting to speak up, not knowing who to speak up to, fearing that their version of events won't be accepted, won't be taken as absolutely what happened. So the importance of treating the person with kindness and compassion, but believing what they say, believing what's happened, and making sure that if the business owner may be part of the same community, that again, that can create its own tensions, the same cultural community, that can create its own tensions in speaking up about it. And what we heard from a particular worker was it's not about sexual attraction, it's about power. That's a quote from one of the people who spoke to us. And we know that that is absolutely the case, that it's about power over somebody. Another one who told us, when you're employed by someone and you're vulnerable, you don't have the communications, the skills, the knowledge to know who to reach out for. But then you're relying on your employer to give you the money. I keep calling it modernised slavery. I've lived and had different employment, done lots of different roles, but hearing many stories of sexual harassment from our seasonal workers. What's the gap? What's the differences? And why are we getting it? So it is recognising that additional vulnerability, not knowing where to turn to. So the importance of giving people information about their options and getting a free legal advice from our community legal centres or legal aid commissions. So those were some of the key insights that we heard. The importance of information coming from services they trust, like yours. So important that you, who they will reach out to for other issues and other concerns, talk to them also about workplace sexual harassment.
Wow, incredibly important for us to acquaint ourselves with those key insights. And we will encourage people at the end of this to go to the report and have a read. The fact that it's lived experience and really an amplification of the voices of that lived experience, so critical. So well done. You really are to be commended. Look, sometimes, Anna, we do hear though, okay, 11 recommendations, great report, and then it ends up on the shelf. Can we really expect change? Those 11 recommendations are so critical. What are you hoping will happen as a result?
One of our recommendations is about educating the community, and we've got some really clear, easy to understand, lots of pictures, lots of colours, resources. So we've got a poster which says what is workplace sexual harassment, and it shows different pictures of what it is so that it's much more accessible for people for whom English is their second, third language. So we want to educate the community, and that's one of our recommendations. Also, that services such as yours, who are trusted by refugee migrant communities, that you're funded to actually talk about it, because they will come to you, they will ask you rather than necessarily going to another type of service. So it's really important that you know what it is. So that's one of our recommendations, education. Another one is around the importance of not having confidentiality agreements being signed. So when someone does make a complaint, that they're not then limited by having, if they are awarded some sort of a money or some other type of way of resolving the complaint, that they're not silenced by that. So that's one of our other recommendations. And we also need to know how widespread it is. We only did a survey 4 years ago. We need to know, we need to update that data and get some key data about how it is playing out across our society. So there are key recommendations. I will be pushing personally. I will be meeting with ministers. I will be ensuring that those recommendations get picked up, and we all have a role. So please do go to our website. There's free resources there, and they're in easy to understand language. We've really tried hard to make it really clear, easy to understand English so that people, with lots of pictures, so that people can understand it.
Fantastic. Dr. Anna Cody, thank you so much. We are hoping that we continue the partnership with you at the Settlement Council of Australia. We think it's really important that our workforce has access to these kinds of resources, that we build that capability, because prevention ultimately, of course, is the best strategy. There's so many practical steps in your report, and I really do encourage our sector to reach out. We'll continue to talk with you and your office. Again, thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us, and good luck with it all.
Thank you so much, Maria, and thank you to all of you and all of your members for the incredibly fabulous advocacy and work that you do day in, day out.